for the planning board. Anyone who needs to leave for an emergency, please exit to your left, and please use the stairs, not the elevator. Anybody who we do call up to talk to us tonight, please just state your name and address. Besides that, Michelle, please call the first case.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First case we're going to discuss is PB 2024-03-01. Request by Costage Engineering, acting as agent for Summer Villas on 3rd LLC for a special use permit for the construction of 10 townhouse units per Town Code 235-90B1B on premises 91 Lakefront in a WD Waterfront Development District.
Sure. Before we start, could you tell us what our purview is on this tonight? Just so everybody knows.
Cape Powers LaBella Associates. So because this property is in the Waterfront Development District, townhouses are a special use. So it's something that a board, depending on the authority of that board, will review on a case-by-case basis. And so all special uses in the Waterfront Development District are within the purview of the Planning Board. The Planning Board issues special use permits in the Waterfront Development District. So you all will be looking at the use. Eventually, this will come for site plan. The applicant will be going to the Zoning Board of Appeals first, so that then when they come to you, they can show you a code-compliant site plan. So today we're looking at the use. I've provided the criteria outlined in the code in a handout, as well as sort of, I compiled those requirements and sort of put them in sections. It might be easier to sort of conceptualize them. So townhouses are a special use in the Waterfront Development District, and you all will determine if that use is appropriate on this site.
Is there anything in the Waterfront District code that we should be familiar with regarding townhouses? Does it call it out, or?
So the only thing that it calls out specifically, I believe, is that it is a special use permit, and I'll pull it up. Well, I actually have it up right now. So it also mentions that the number of piers, docks, or wharves permitted per each waterfront lot used for multifamily townhouse or condominium purposes shall not exceed one such structure per residential use built or unit built. I believe this is not appropriate because there aren't any piers or docks. And then maximum building height for townhouses is not to exceed 35 feet. And then besides that, it just notes that it is a special use permit. Really what's most applicable in the code is the criteria that you all will review this application against.
Okay. Is there any questions for the town before I ask the applicant to talk to us?
I just want a clarification. He's going to the zoning board. When he comes back, he may not have something that is code compliant, correct?
So, if the
Because
applicant...
he's going to the zoning board to
Sure.
ask for relief from the code.
Right, and so in the event that the applicant is not granted a variance, they will have to redesign in a way that is compliant with the code.
Yes.
And so maybe they will come back, maybe they won't come back. But yes, you are correct that the design is going to depend on whether they get a variance or not.
Got it. And our anticipation is that they're scheduled to go before the ZBA, before they'll come back to us for design, right?
Yes.
Okay. And what are they asking for from the ZBA?
I'll let
Land coverage?
I'll let them sort of explain, but I believe that it is area per unit. So on this site, it can accommodate. Man, I forgot. Six townhouse, 8 townhouse units, 8.5 townhouse units, and they're proposing 10. And so because it is a dimensional requirement, they're going for an area variance. to the ZBA.
Okay, and it doesn't mean that we ultimately will approve 10 anyway.
Sure, I mean, they'll also come here for, and if you feel that this design is not conducive to the site or amongst the other sort of evaluations that you all do. But yes, they'll go, and if they get a variance, then you all won't have to worry about whether it's code compliant or not in that circumstance.
Great.
So is the applicant here tonight? Would you like to come give us an overview?
After all that.
I'm Steve Labazetta.
Brad, can you just make sure the mic is on over there for them?
Hello?
That mic is on, it should be. Turn. Yep.
I'm Steve Labazetta, owner of the property. Mark Kostic.
Mark Kostic, Kostic Engineering. We are here in front of you for a special permit as indicated by staff, and we are happy to talk about any aspect of it, but as outlined in the introduction, we intend to talk about the special use permit, which is a requirement in the Waterfront Development District. We also, we did come and see you previously for site plan, and we've also done subdivision on this. This was, and we've also actually, to go back even further, originally there was a rezoning on the property. It was zoned originally commercial and residential, and we went to the town board, we came to the planning board, we went through a rezoning to get it to waterfront development. We subsequently put all the properties into one at the request of the town to make it cleaner, basically. And we then did come in for concept. Originally, when we came in on concept, we were interpreting the code as multifamily, which would allow a density of 1 unit per 4,000 square feet. We had quite a bit of discussion with the town staff got together, and they looked at it as townhouse. If you look at there's quite a bit to the definitions, and I think everybody agreed could go either way. They took the more conservative approach to townhouse, which is fine. So that requires that we get a variance for the 10 units. So we're at currently a density of 1 unit per 5,000 square foot of land area. The townhouse is 1 per 6,000, and the multifamily, which we started at, was 1 per 4,000, so kind of in the middle. So for the special use permit, I did do a letter of intent, and basically it outlines the standards that you are to look at in approving such a special use permit by the board, by you, the planning board. We'd be happy to go through those, or you can ask questions, whichever you'd like.
Why don't you walk us through what you propose?
Sure.
Yeah.
So, just a brief overview for anybody that hasn't been here. This is a 1.1 acre site. It's provided access from 3rd Street. We propose to have a private road driveway that comes in, providing the units, which will be fairly contemporary looking, 2-story with a lower level parking, so I guess it could be called a 3-story unit, 2-car parking, and 10 units total. Our approach is to keep the development away from the water's edge, obviously, to kind of have a transitional type development. So we're going from multifamily that's next door, that is a density of over 20 units per acre, 23 I think it is. So we'll be at a density of a little less than 10 units per acre, and then as it moves down to the east, it'll be residential. We would be providing water, fire, access, and all the things that are needed for necessary site planning. But as part of the special permit, there's a series of questions or a series of standards that the board looks at. And basically, I just, in my letter of intent, responded to those. The first one being access, that obviously you want appropriate access. And we are providing that through Third Street, the previously known as Third Street right-of-way. Utilities are necessary. We are providing. There is sanitary on-site, and water is adjacent to the site. So we'll be bringing in dedicated type facilities or private, depending on what staff wants. Refuse disposal would be through commercial carriers. A3, the proposed development is compatible and will enhance the natural features of the site and surrounding area. Development has been kept away from the shoreline to continue a natural setting. The development will buffer the garages to the west, which are very linear and lacked in character. Right now, along our western border, are the garages, the backs of the garages, right up to the property line of the westage next door. So we're kind of putting our garage doors towards that and keeping the traffic in that area. And then we're hoping, obviously, to landscape and create a nice green belt to the east. The development will include necessary fire protection as required by the town: fire hydrants, fire lanes, turnarounds. We have included on this plan, as a result of our schematic meeting, a fire truck turnaround that we have developed, I think, from the vehicle, basically a fire vehicle similar to what the town uses, showing a turnaround that would allow for emergency access. The development will relate to the lake by maintaining natural beach with living units, pavements pulled away from the water. Again, that is in the comprehensive plan in the waterfront development, that we should keep development away from the water's edge. And if you will notice, the adjacent properties are developed much further, and we have kept back. The proposed development of townhomes will relate to the existing land use and zoning. To the west, the development is high-density multifamily housing, again, on the order of 23 units per acre. The existing development includes garage structures with little architectural interest. So we're going to, I think, end up buffering that and keeping our roadway to that. To the east is residential use and vacant land. Our townhouse development, we feel, is a very good transition, and the comprehensive plan actually calls out for this area to be developed as multifamily. The townhouse development will comply to the greatest extent possible with the design, site criteria, and zoning district development requirements. Again, the one deviation we are proposing is a slightly higher density of development at 8.5 units per acre versus, or 8.5 is allowed, and we're proposing 10, or a little under 10. Development will comply with the greatest extent possible the site design criteria, and I already said that. A8, the proposed luxury townhome project will include pedestrian public access. The intent is to allow safe, secure public access to the local community by foot traffic only. No drop-off, parking, overall community access is proposed or encouraged. Low-key, unadvertised access is envisioned that will be of low impact to residents and of the project. This is part of the desire of the waterfront development code to have public access. We want to be very much in compliance with that. However, we also want to maintain the safety and integrity of our project. There has been discussion, throughout time in this area of access to the waterfront, and it has been through this property, and the applicant is ready to do that. We don't want to have a situation where people are coming here parking, people are coming and hanging out. We are proposing that people utilize our drive which will be marked out for pedestrian access in a low-key manner. And we are very concerned about putting free access to the waterfront through the site, specifically, through our development area, in the green space especially, given, that people will live here, and we certainly don't want to have people going through yards and, especially at night and things around the waterfront. It's just not a desirable thing. So we very much want to keep that along the driveway, and, have it low-key, have some signage that indicates properly that there is public access, but, don't wander, basically. And I'm open to questions. I can take those at the end if you want, or whatever. The luxury townhouse project will be consistent, this is B1, will be consistent with town plans and zoning. The property was designated to be developed multifamily back when multifamily to the east was developed. So it's been in the comprehensive plan for a while. The project will not result in similar development to the east of these properties, are not zoned for townhouse development, and are deed restricted from that type of development. This was the last property at the time of the subdivision and the creation of Westage. This property was included to be multifamily, or to be deeded that way. Beyond that, it is not. B3 and 4, the luxury townhouse project will not produce noise, dust, glare, odor, fumes, vibrations, unsightliness, contamination, fire, explosions, electricity, radiation, crowds, traffic, congestion, excessive parking, or similar conditions. The traffic generation from 10 units is low when compared to the existing traffic in the area and falls well below the county standard of a traffic impact analysis. Also falls below the standard in your code for traffic analysis for a waterfront development project. The luxury townhouse B5, the luxury townhouse project will not cause undue harm to natural features. The project will comply with town and FEMA flood requirements. The plans include erosion and sediment control. Water will include erosion and sediment control. Water quality will be treated using best management practices, including vegetated swales, rain gardens, and landscape. Existing vegetation will be disturbed and removed where needed and consists of lower quality softwoods. Revegetation in the form of lawns and landscape and rain gardens will take place. B6, the development is consistent with the town planning documents that calls for multifamily development in the area. Again, I'm answering questions that were put forth. The luxury townhouse project is transitional from higher density to lower to multifamily. The proposed development is consistent with the LWRP. B8, no historic or cultural resources shall be impacted. And B9, no dredging, filling, or disturbance of Lake Ontario will result from the development of the luxury townhome project. Sorry for dragging you through that, but that's basically the standards. Thank you. I guess Steve has something to say. We could open it to any questions you may have.
I don't recall, are these going to be owned or rented, or you don't know yet?
Rented for now.
Rented, okay. Not that it has anything to do with the special use. So I'm not sure how far we go, because we're not doing site
Well,
plan.
I got a couple things for them.
But hold on, I want to know. So we're not doing site plan.
No, so you're considering the use. So,
Use.
yeah, so essentially you can go through the criteria, checklist, et cetera, and say, townhouse as a use, is that within the character of the surrounding neighborhood? But you're not talking about the specific design. You're just, so maybe I would frame it like that. Will townhouses cause an inappropriate number of similar uses in a concentrated area?
Okay.
Yeah.
So you said, I forgot, you had these lots put together? They were separate before?
Originally, the total area had 7 tax codes. So consolidated into one tax code.
We surveyed and did a complete subdivision.
But when you did that, were all of those properties allowed to have multifamily on them, or not?
Yes.
So they all were. So now you got one, okay. That was my question. Go ahead, Alan, you had some questions?
Are you going to need to take the elevation up or down for any reason? And
Yes, we will be.
by what?
We will be having the ground meet 2 foot above the floodplain level as required by FEMA. So that would.
What does that
average-
mean?
Well, there's a flood elevation
Now, I get that part. What does that mean? How much soil are you bringing in?
much soil?
Or how much are you
on the
taking out
order of a 1.5 to 2 feet,
for the entire property?
just in the building footprints.
There's,
So everything else
I
would
mean,
be
I understand you're going to sub in some land to make it buildable, or
That's-
some soil to make it buildable.
Right,
But
it would-
in addition to that, you're going to be elevating it.
And this, for any development, it would be, you would need engineered fill to put
Yeah.
things on. So this would be a run-a-bank compacted gravel. And actually FEMA requires that it be compacted and the right materials be used.
Okay, and then pedestrian access, how is that done off the property? And I know we're not there yet, but I'm going to tell you that's going to be an issue when we do get there.
What do you mean off the property?
There's no pedestrian access off the property at this moment, right? There's only a sidewalk on your property?
well, the property is used almost daily.
I get what's going on now. Once it's constructed, is my question to you.
The pedestrians would walk down Third Street and walk down the driveway. And
So
walk
they'd have to
in.
cross,
They'd come in.
they would be in conflict with cars. I'm just going to tell you right now, it's going to be an issue, at least for me, when we get to that point. I don't know that we're there. I don't
Could
think
you-
it's enough for me to stop anything.
Could you explain your concern a little bit more? I'm trying,
Wait, see where the pedestrian sidewalk ends?
yeah.
So how are you getting there, Bernie? If you want to access the beach, what are you doing?
Well, that sidewalk ends because that's happens to be where the sidewalk was left when Westage was developed. But right now, that sidewalk goes in front of the houses that are currently facing Lake Ontario. And
Why don't you show me on that map what you're telling
so
me?
I think you're referring to this sidewalk here?
No, I'm referring to the one that's running on what would be the,
East, west, or north, south?
This one here.
Behind the garages. I
behind the
think.
garages, that one. That-
What we're proposing.
Yes,
That's proposed.
That would be a proposed in the drive lane. a
that's what
painted-
you're
a painted
proposing
area.
for public access, right?
Correct.
Not that other,
No.
right,
This-
so
this-
that's,
This is a continuation.
I don't want to belabor it, but I think everybody here gets what I'm saying. There's no public access unless I'm already on your property to that sidewalk.
I'm sorry, I don't follow.
I don't follow you either.
We're allowing for
People to come in.
people to come
Right,
north and south along.
the same way that
property.
a car or truck is going to come in, right?
What he's saying is your walkway's gonna be right where all
You're
the
asking me
traffic is
to
on
walk
the
in front of
side.
cars, to access a sidewalk.
Well, it's a driveway, it's not a,
Like I said, it's
road.
not a big deal tonight, but it's something you should think about, at least for me, so I don't make it a big deal.
and
you
and
talk
I've
about the other-
indicated a willingness to work out
Right,
something that will be workable, but the practicality is that
the public access is important for you to be able to get this special use permit, as far as I'm concerned.
sure, I
All right.
understand. I've never,
We agree with that totally.
Okay.
Totally.
Well, if the concern is conflict with vehicles, we can look at the peak hour traffic, and we're
Or
probably
build
talking
something that
about.
allows a distinction between
And
where.
we can do that.
See,
sure.
that works.
I think,
You were
I think
referencing
that-
another sidewalk, though. I want you to go back to that.
I'm
so-
sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
This piece of concrete exists now.
Right.
It's a continuation of an existing promenade that was there since the turn of the century. It ends on our property, but in all likelihood, and we're gonna keep it, in all likelihood, people continue to use it to access Third Street now and/or go down to or from the beach.
So they're
So right
crossing somebody
now-
else's property.
Sorry?
They're crossing somebody else's private property to use that. That's not an old railroad right away, right?
No, it's what was referred to always as the promenade in front of these houses. All of the houses that face the lake, which is
Yeah.
here, are in a line here, and this is a sidewalk in front of it.
Right.
Before Westage was here, this promenade continued all the
Got
way
it.
to
Okay.
Genesee River.
And is it maintained today?
I don't think really, there's streetlights on it, it's concrete sidewalk. I mean,
It's
as
not
far as-
plowed, it's not
It's not maintained in any way.
Are you gonna do something to
All
re-maintain it, or?
all
what
we're
do
doing is
site
maintaining
plan, I
it. So
suppose, but
we're
anyway.
We're
trying,
not taking it away.
we're fitting the letter of the law of it exists, therefore we're going to keep it existing.
Okay. So all I think Alan is getting at is when you come back for site plan, or actually, well, I guess it's a condition of special use too, is what you're
Right.
saying. There's several conflict, I see you show, like, I don't know if that's painted on the, or you're gonna put something that distinguishes the walkway so
Sure.
a car could tell
And we're,
pedestrians.
we can.
That's where you're
work with
going,
that.
right? Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
where I was going with it
Yes.
was putting it in the area. There's been some discussion of potentially putting it here. And from our standpoint, from the safety and the marketability of housing, those are going to be the living room, glass window of the homeowners. And from experience, it's a real detriment to development to have.
These other
strangers-
houses, they're in front of their houses, right?
that?
This other sidewalk you mentioned is in front of their houses.
Yes,
Okay,
this sidewalk is.
all right, so it's
So-
not unheard of, I guess, is what I'm.
No,
No.
but it's certainly,
Not preferred, is what you're saying.
But if we have to put a dedicated walkway, it may very well be possible to just do that there and put a barrier of some sort between the edge of the drive or,
You gotta be
I mean-
careful because of your radius of turn and everything
Yeah,
else, so.
yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, it
I think we can
falls on the
differentiate
engineer
it.
to make it work.
I think we
but-
can differentiate.
Stamp concrete or something, whatever, so,
Right.
okay.
But we're also talking about a pedestrian access, which of course is only a couple of feet. I don't really know. Right now,
It's,
people are happy
I got it.
to utilize
Yes,
that.
we just want
gotta
public
be ADA
access as
compliant.
part of the special use permit. Because that's part of what we're all being asked
Absolutely.
for. Okay.
Anyway, we're not fighting this at all. It's
Nope, I
not
didn't think you
something-
were. I just wanted to clarify for myself what your thinking was on
And I'm
pedestrians.
sorry, what do people do today? They're all using it for just,
Probably just walk anywhere they want.
Well, there's a well-traversed path to the water.
Yeah.
People come up this sidewalk that we spoke of, typically go up or down from Third Street to St. Paul and then use it to access the beach. So
where's that path today? Just,
kind of where our proposed driveway is, actually.
all right. Any other questions?
So you said you're gonna bring in a couple feet of fill, and these are gonna be.
Dan, can you just turn your mic on, please, honey?
You gotta push the back button.
On the bottom. Thank you.
Is it on? Oh, good, you got the picture up.
Yeah, so you're gonna bring in a couple feet of fill, and you talked about a garage, then 2 stories above that. How high are these buildings gonna be?
See a street there, and they're gonna cut in here.
I couldn't really see in here. But it seems like they're gonna be pretty tall.
Walkway right here.
They are going to be tall.
Come in,
However,
make a driveway.
I don't know that we have a
Yeah.
problem with the height restriction that we have at this point.
I think
Because
code is allowing, there is not
I
a
don't
code
think they're going to
provision.
ZBA for a height.
Yeah, I'm just curious, I mean, how tall are, like, is this gonna be something that's gonna stick out, be huge and?
Well, the key to avoiding that is also a flat roof. We've kind of traded off having a flat roof versus a peaked roof, because we do want that lower garage. The footprint is relatively small on these, so that's why we're going up. But it will end up with a flat roof, and a peaked roof usually ends up in being a whole other story.
Is it 38 feet?
I didn't see,
It's really small, and I thought I ended up kind of.
Well, it's still, there again,
35 or has got to go to
we,
ZBA.
we can easily adjust this accordingly, but as Mark stated, the design, intended design has roof access for utilization.
I think you are correct, and I'm seeing that
It
real
was
small
really hard to
text
see,
there
but I
too.
think I,
We're going to avoid a variance for height.
And what's that shed that shows up on the property line there?
We just did a full survey, so
There's an existing garden
It's
shed I
existing.
built there to houses a lawnmower and some, it's a garden, piece of garden architecture.
So it's on your neighbor's property too, or?
The shed is my shed. And then my neighbor has a garage. There's sort of his driveway comes in from 3rd Street. and
The answer is yes, I think.
Sorry?
Yes. Down his neighbors.
Yeah,
Also.
splits both of them.
Okay. And are these gonna be totes, or are you gonna have a dumpster too?
Totes,
Totes. That you're gonna store inside the garage?
correct.
Good. I kinda remember that from the last time we were here.
Yeah, now that you say that,
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I remember this conversation.
When are you looking to start, if you can?
Well, I don't know. The realistic answer I don't have. This gentleman probably has a better idea of timing than I do.
Provided you get everything you
We're
need.
going through the variety of approvals
It's
for
been a
so
slow
long
go.
now.
We
just
started
need-
way before the pandemic. But we're hoping to, keep it on course right now.
Sure, it looks like, do you have some questions, Brett?
Yeah, I know that the site right now is pretty treed, isn't that so? There's quite a bit of trees on it, tree coverage, and that's not where I'm going. I'm wondering if you think there may be any negative impact to any of the other properties' views. I know that sometimes that's something we consider with this properties along the lakeshore. We consider the impact to other neighbors' views.
Ironically, I think the views will improve. It's so dense right now. There'll be
It's-
more space.
It's a lot of soft woods right now, so in the summertime, it's green, but it's not valuable woodlot or anything.
Yeah, I drove by there yesterday, and there's a couple of larger, it looks like dogwood trees maybe, but there's no big oak or maple or.
Right, and so anything, I'm not sure if this is on or off.
It's on.
So, if there are homes that are surrounding their views right now are probably blocked by the trees, so it may improve.
Of that section, but the
Yeah.
views, they have direct views straight to the
Got
water
it.
Right.
on their own property.
Okay.
So
And in the winter, the views could actually be those garages,
Okay,
which are
nothing.
pretty stark.
Yeah, and I appreciate the attempts here at the pedestrian access. I know that there's this north and south access to the water, but there's also this east and west walking path. I don't know, whatever it is, but I know that it is.
Promenade.
Promenade. I know that it is trafficked by residents. There are a lot of dog walkers and that sort of thing. So I appreciate, when it, this is kind of site plan stuff, but I appreciate continuing that connectivity for those folks. I think they would
I
appreciate
don't
it.
have any desire to fight anybody.
Any other questions for the applicant?
I hope everyone sees it as an enhancement, frankly.
Do you have any other questions for us?
No, we're just trying to go through all the necessary steps to get the site plan so we can,
So you're going to come back, you're going to have the ruling from the zoning board, then you're going to come back with a site plan? Is that,
yes.
okay, with all your permits and everything out of the way? Okay.
I think actually you all will be back at the next meeting, the hearing, hoping for a decision on the special use permit
Right,
first.
yeah, right,
And then,
I'm sorry.
yeah, no, I just wanted to make sure for the record.
I guess the question would be at that meeting, we'll just give a very brief explanation for the public and open it up to questions.
Sure, similar to how you started this one, just give an overview.
Thank you very much.
Sure. The more they know, the better. So,
Well, it is an existing neighborhood, and I'm sure there will be people with opinions.
it will be a public hearing,
Yeah, this
right?
one
So,
was all-
and you got the signs posted and everything, so.
I have the sign right here.
I started to look at it.
See, Ellen, they got the signs. So, yeah, just want to make sure.
I started to look at
How come they don't say citizens on them? Gee, you think, I'm gonna get us in trouble.
I couldn't even,
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I can't put this.
There's only one parcel.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Let's make them write it in English and bring it back to us.
Thank you, everybody.
How about that? Thank you. That's gonna be my suggestion.
Whatever makes it easier.
Well, it's gonna be something the public can see next to, right? Actually, you talk to the engineer to look at this.
How many signs are actually?
Looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
How many signs?
So, are we ready? Next case? PB 2024-03-02. Request by Sign and Lighting Services LLC for signage approval for Citizens Bank on premises 525 Titus Avenue in a C Business District.
This is quite an intensive application. Good evening. Good evening.
Evening.
Good evening. My name is Paul Gagel. I'm a project manager with the bank, with Citizens Bank. Address is 27777 Franklin Road, Southfield, Michigan, 48034.
Paul, could you spell your last name for me, please?
Gagel.
G-A-G-E.
My sign vendor was unable to attend tonight, but I do have some information, and I'll walk through it the best that I can and answer the questions to the best of my ability. I can reach out to some technical help if needed via telephone, if there's questions that I can't answer as far as the structure of the signs and things like that.
Okay. Why don't you just walk us through the signs?
Okay, well,
High-level overview, how's that?
high level? Okay, well, basically, with the construction of this new branch, this is going to be new construction of the branch on Hudson Avenue there. And what's going to happen is what you're seeing in our brand book, what we term as the brand book, is our typical standard signage that we put on all our branches or try to put on all our branches. So on the, we can go through, on the east elevation, starting with page 3, the east elevation, the sign at the top. This sign is typically an illuminated sign here. This sign here is illuminated. The interior sign, that's inside the vestibule. The green sign is going to be inside the vestibule. It's non-illuminated. It's more of a visual as customers go by, so it's
Is
not...
that on the glass or
No, it's going to be on the soffit wall.
freehanging?
Yes, yeah,
On
or anchored to the wall. So I'd have to...
So it'll be inside?
Yes, it's going to be inside the vestibule, that is correct. And then we have the aluminum panels, or the green, to get our brand to pop. We like to be able to see that green as people are coming down the street.
Sure.
Were those on the original site plan that we approved?
I couldn't say. I don't recall the
Staff
site.
take a look to see if this was original?
And do you mean what part do you want us to check?
He's putting in green, you can see on this drawing,
So,
this is going to be green right now.
Okay,
So it's similar to our question when they did the cube storage or whatever. I mean, it's all branding when you start it, doing it on the outside. I don't know that that's what we originally approved.
okay, we'll double check.
All right.
if I may point out, there is a note on one of this, part of this is a canopy. It's a MAPES canopy.
Yep.
So it's an aluminum canopy that'll hang out over the sidewalk. we just do them in green to match our branding. And then there's some technical detail about the lights and how they're attached to the wall and things like that, the power requirements. And we noted the size on each side. And then on page 4, it references the green logo that I talked about. It is called out in the upper left-hand corner that it's a non-illuminated sign on page 4.
But that's the one that's on the inside?
Yes.
So does that count as a sign when it's on the inside? I didn't think so.
No, but I think that it's helpful on the plan to indicate that it's interior, what it looks like, et cetera. Because it's possible that, you know, when somebody gets this plan or the inspector, whoever, they might think that's supposed to go on the outside. So yeah, even though it's not technically,
It says interior,
right, that's why I'm saying it's good that it's on here because,
so it doesn't count towards the signage. Okay.
no.
All right.
Alan, just to confirm,
It was on there?
yes.
That's all I wanted to make sure.
Yeah, my colleague was here with the landlord of the property running through all the zoning things. She transferred to another job and I inherited the project. So that's why I may not be able to answer some of your previous inquiries with that team.
That's why Michelle's here. She's smarter than
This is
all of
all-
us.
This is
No.
east facing Hudson Avenue, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, on page 2 of 28, there is a site plan that shows, will correlate to each elevation as we go through the book.
It's this one.
Page 2,
It's this one.
yeah, page 2 is the basic site plan.
Yeah, that's,
It's helpful to
knows
have
why.
that when you're looking at this.
God knows why with that one out to begin with. And I just did north because I'm used to north being on top.
Keep going.
Okay, page 3 again, east elevation focuses on the sign that's going to be near the top of the building above that green logo. That is an illuminated sign. And it details the type of lights that'll be there. And the square footage is noted as well.
These are internally lit, right?
Yes, they are. And they are LED lighting. It's LED lighting, so.
And do you have a Kelvin degree on here? Probably not.
Not on this plan. Now, I'd have to go back and put an RFI out to get some more information on that, if it's required.
Be good to have.
Generally on those interior limited LEDs, we want the bright, clean, white, right in
Yeah.
contrast to when we have the, auxiliary lighting, we look for the more yellow tone. So I don't necessarily think that it's,
I don't think it's gonna be a big issue. We just don't want it real bright.
sure, I mean, within the standards of reason, yeah.
You can see it from the lake or
Well, I don't want
or
the
4 o'clock
birds.
in the morning.
Yeah.
Then going to
Page 5. There you go.
yeah, additional, page 4 is kind of a redundancy. Page 5 goes to the north elevation. Again, we have the white lights. We've got the green logo on the interior. Now, the one thing you'll note, and there's going to be a little more detail a few pages down, but on page 5, you'll see the sign to the right-hand side, that white, what we call a daisy wheel, our logo. That is going to be illuminated as well. And then again, we're putting the MAPES canopies in along the windows and above the front door. Page 6 is a reiteration of the previous page about the interior green logo. That's actually provided by one of our other vendors as well, so it wouldn't be through the sign company. This sign company that applied for this application, it goes under our interior branding package, so it's another company that would actually install that. But it's noted here for reference, as was mentioned before, so you get a full transparency, get a visual of what we're going for. Then page 7 focuses on the door vinyls that are typical for all of our doors. Lists the hours and our branding. Page 8 is the one that shows the daisy wheel. They call it green wall mounted, but they did it in white, so might have to do a little. Sometimes we do those in white, so, but that light will be illuminated.
So it says green, but you're
I
saying.
know, I just caught that. I just caught that. We'll make a note to the sign vendor as well, and get that corrected prior to the public hearing. And then we go to the west elevation. And again, we're going to have the daisy green wall mounted. I'm gonna have to check that as well. Why they're calling that green instead of white. I may be in error, so I do have to clarify that. Page 10 focuses on the channel letters. Those are also
Can I
illuminated.
just ask a quick question on page 9, where it says citizens written out? What is that?
Okay, if you go to page 10, there's a little more detail.
Okay.
They're channel letters, and they're going to be illuminated.
Those are green.
Those are green, yeah. So the reason I need to go back and clarify this is because of depending on the background, we'll either use a green or a white light on the background. So I've got to clarify the brand book and possibly have that reissued prior to the hearing. But we can clarify all of those things. But this gives a representation of the signage that we are asking for. On the page 11, the west elevation, we are introducing an illuminated awning. That awning is going to be a green fabric type material, but we have a light bar that goes above it.
What's the reason for that, just so?
It looks good. In all honesty, I mean, it's just part of our brand that the design team came up with. And once it's there, the illumination of the awning, especially obviously at night, is what really calls it out, calls our branch out.
You don't have that on your other awning, right?
On which page, sir?
Page 8.
No, on page 8, those are a metal canopy.
Oh, okay.
Those metal canopies will have a downlight though. So there will be a downlight, recessed light that shines down onto the
And will
sidewalk.
reflect up back up, right?
No, typically on our
Gonna do
canopy.
these in dull paint?
No, typically on our canopy lights, we just have the down lights, the recessed lights that shine down towards the sidewalk. We don't do a wall wash to go above it, no. Not in this case, that's not what we're trying.
A better way for me to ask my question is, there's not going to be any reflection off of that awning from those lights? It'll
Okay,
absorb all the
but-
light.
Are you referring to page 8 or the?
Page 8's a good reference.
Okay, page 8, no, there won't be no reflection. Because the awning is here, the light's down here, and it'll shine down on below it. So there's nothing going to shine up to reflect off of the metal.
So it's not going to hit the metal at all?
No, it'll
Okay.
shine down. Now, you know how recessed lights are. There might be a little glow around the metal, but not enough for it to actually reflect out and broadcast itself out.
All right. I'm just asking, Bernie, because Well Now does have those lights that actually reflect up.
11, I think is it.
Yeah, page 11, that's the awning with the light bar. And basically, the material on the awning will absorb some of the light. The light is actually a thin light bar, LED lights that just creates just a trace of lighting across it that it enhances it without being too obtrusive. Page 12, those are,
Talk about the drive-up, or?
yeah,
Yes.
page 12. Page 12 shows all the clearance signs. Those are our typical clearance signs that go there. And those are non-illuminated. Those are basically just white decals that will be on the green canopy. And then page 13, underneath the canopy, we'll have this, a drive-up ATM, which will have this housing around it. There is some lighting with that housing. The word citizens will pop out from that, but that's really all the amount of lighting that will be on the ATM.
But obviously, that'll be all lit from the canopy above,
Yes,
so
the
it'll
can-
be bright. and
That is correct.
Secure.
Oh, yes, yeah,
all night.
yeah, definitely. We put, again, we use the LED canopy lights, recessed canopy lights that shine down. But yeah, we use, around our ATMs, we use the New York code for that, in fact, throughout our entire footprint, because that's one of the highest, or the strongest codes there are for lighting. So we're very diligent about that. The south elevation on page 14 just depicts the, another view of what that canopy will look, or the lighting around the ATM will look like.
You got some wall-mounted lights, too?
Yes, actually, page, oh yes, we will have some wall-mounted lights. Those are some sconces that we install along there. Now, those sconces, it's going to be a softer material, but those sconces they have illumination that goes up and down to wash the wall. But they don't project out away from the building, they just wash the wall.
That was your concern with Wellnum, was the lights that go up and down.
No, this is one that just reflects down on the awning and reflects off.
He's talking about the wall sconces go up.
Yeah, those I would want to know the Kelvin temperature on those.
Yeah, now on page 15, we're referencing these little squares here.
Yeah,
Those are the wall sconces,
So it's
so
gonna
we
be
can get that.
light on the top.
yeah, no, I get it. I'm sure it's architecturally significant that we have to illuminate it.
And then also on page 15, we're showing our, we're going to have a through-the-wall ATM, and that's going to be an illuminated surround that's depicted there. And those, there is a little light bar in between the gray and the green part, and the word citizen is kind of like a reversed etched that will be illuminated as well. But again, that will be under the canopy, and there'll also be canopy lights that shine down on that lane of drive-through as well.
So this will be on the south facade,
That is correct.
and it's a walk-up?
No, they're both drive-up. Both ATMs are drive-up. One is what we call a first lane that goes through the wall of the building. That will be our
Okay.
first lane drive-up. The one that's in the center of the picture here,
Goes into another lane, got it?
yeah, there sits on an island out there as a second lane drive-up is what we refer that to.
Yeah.
Okay, page 16 really just calls out the bollard covers that we put in. The bollard covers are green with a white stripe. They're non-illuminated. We just use those to protect the bollards instead of paint. The durability, and it just looks sharper. On the south elevation on page 17, there is the south elevation. Those are panels that we're going to be installing. It's basically on the corner of the building as depicted. And on one of the panels will be the shadow of our logo on the panel.
And that branding's gonna happen again on the east elevation?
Yes. Well, if we go back to the east elevation, the east elevation.
If I'm on page 17 right now,
Right.
okay.
Yeah, if you go back to page 3, the east elevation, you'll see a couple of green panels to the right-hand side of the drive-through.
They're just not called out here, that it's more branding.
Well, this one picture on page 17
Yeah.
shows the corners, how it will work on the south and east corner of the building. Then it just calls out the type of material that it is
Do you,
and demonstration of how it's mounted.
do you know how many times the logo appears? How many times the word Chase appears? I mean,
Chase. This is
Citizen.
or I'm sorry, excuse me. How many times? How many times the
After
word?
he does chase Lincoln first, then
How many times the word citizen? I mean,
I would have,
this is like branded to.
it seems
Yeah.
like instead of making the building architecturally interesting, you're just doing it with the logo and name of the bank.
I have not counted the number of times citizen or the logo is repeated, so I don't know that right off the top of my head.
I mean, I just, for the board's reference, in recent cases that we've looked at, the ones that jump to my mind are the Octapharma and also the Well Now. Those buildings requested signage on the rear and in a number of places, and we told them that they could only have it in 3 locations. And that's why when you look at the Octapharma today, there's no sign on the west facade. So, I mean, this is far and above anything else that we've approved recently, if you're trying to keep a consistent approach.
I'm curious if you have a location that you just did recently that we could look up and look at.
I was gonna ask for that too. So do you have like a picture that shows the, especially like just as, it's turning dark, what the illuminated facility looks like?
I can get pictures and send them to the board.
In addition to probably during the daytime too, right? I'd like
Yeah.
to see it at night, especially with these awnings. I personally don't have issues with all the
I
logos.
mean,
Personally, I don't, because I think we should do whatever we can to help you promote the business, so.
That, I agree, but, those applicants were not happy either. So, I mean,
Especially
it's
since right
also,
next door, all the people in the
right,
in the rear,
I think
so.
it's also important for us to be consistent in our application.
Can we just
I don't
finish this? Do we have wayfinding signs and that kind of
Yes,
stuff?
actually, the very next page, page 18, leads into all of our signs. The handicap parking, van accessible parking is shown. Page 19 shows, there's a small inset, but shows the signage that will be there for the right turn and stop, do not enter. All the regulatory signage is there. And it's called out as well on each sheet of what the dimensions of each sign are in the upper left-hand corner of the page. Page 20 is a continuation of that, as well as page 21. More for your wayfinding sign, page 22. Page 22 actually shows directions for parking, the drive-up ATM, or drive-up teller, drive-up ATM.
So I think right now you have a sign in front of the Dunkin' Donuts, don't they?
Yes,
Is that
we
going
do.
away?
Well, I have to, so our monument sign,
Or is that where you're, because your monument sign's going on where you're building now, right?
Yeah.
right, now the monument sign, it's shown on page 24 of what we're planning. So the relocation of that, I've got to verify that against the construction drawings of where that's going to be on our site. But it does look like we're moving that over,
Well, you gotta tell us if the other one's going away too, I guess is what,
okay?
either replaced or going away. It's not a monument sign, it's more a wooden sign, if I recall, right?
Yeah, it's like on 2 posts, and
Yeah,
it's not structural like this.
well, I can tell you it's gonna go away. We're gonna put this nice monument sign in, we're not gonna have that detract from our new signage.
Is the monument sign calculated in the square footage of the 20% rule?
I would have to ask the sign vendor that, to be honest with
Does
you.
it need to be?
Well, it's on the property, it counts.
I think that's usually the way we count it,
Yeah.
but I
I
wasn't
mean,
sure.
we've always counted it that way before.
Well, I think precedent is one way that you do need to look at it, but we'll take a look at the sign code as well.
I guess I'd like to know if all the signs meet the code, you know, the ones with the logos and so forth. What they're allowed to do.
And
And
as,
the inside ones don't count,
right, yeah, I agree.
Right.
As far as the calculations for that 20%, are you counting the, what did you call it, the daisy logo as well as the lettering?
You'd have to.
I just want to confirm.
Yeah, when you look at the detail,
It's all
it's
counted.
like a, yeah.
Yeah, so whatever the linear footage is, they would apply that towards the code against square footage against the
So
linear.
for
They
instance,
do a simple rectangle around the sign.
so for in here, we're counting this and we're counting this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought
Okay,
you
we have
used the other one, right?
Yeah, I
No, I know that one, because it's on the wall inside, you're just seeing it through the glass, so.
So you do have on the spec sheet a custom non-illuminated monument sign?
Yeah, page number 24.
This is
Yep.
Yeah, right there.
So that's non-illuminated.
not illuminated. Yeah, the inside's not
Correct.
illuminated. At least that's what it says.
Yeah, his monument sign, they're representing that it's not going to be
Oh,
illuminated.
we were talking about the inside one, I'm sorry. This is not illuminated.
So, just for clarification, there is a note on the monument sign, the first note, that there is some lighting that we are going to provide. So there might be some uplighting from the ground that's going to illuminate, the sign itself won't be illuminated, but there's going to be ground light that washes that sign. That would be depicted on the construction drawings. It wouldn't be reflected in the sign vendor's brand book,
Okay, again, that's probably something I want to know.
okay?
Yeah. Wish you were here when we first looked at this.
And I'm sorry I'm messing your stuff up.
Is this what sign packages usually are?
Pardon?
Are these usually just?
Yeah.
Any other questions on the signs?
So I think, I drove down through there, Bankers Row, I guess you want to call it now. ESL is brand new. There's Evans Bank, I think, right? It's relatively new. None of these other banks have a monument sign. So there's, the existing Citizens Bank sign is there, and I understand that because the bank is kind of tucked around behind and you don't really see it. To me, with all the other branding on the building, I don't really see a need for a monument sign when we don't have monument signs for anybody else.
Yeah. I'm good with that.
I think that's something to consider, because it's definitely going to be citizens.
Yeah, there's plenty of branding.
Yeah, this has got more branding than Wegmans has.
It's a good thing. We can help you set a new standard for signage in the bank,
Yeah,
on Bankers Row.
that's what we want, a new standard in signage.
That's a good point about the monument. He's got a good point there. Save you some money.
Yeah.
But if you could get us pictures before the next meeting, I would really like to, because there's no other, you don't have another one like this in this area, right?
No,
This is the first
not
in this
that,
area.
no, yeah, this is
Not this
new
prototype.
construction like this, exactly, not with this prototype, not with this style. So
Yeah.
this is, we've done it in other municipalities and other states, so we can get some examples of photos from those and send them over.
Ask us.
So, the public hearing is the 25th. When would all this have to be resubmitted to you for your packages?
Talk to her. Michelle?
I'm sorry. Say that again?
The submission of the material that was requested tonight, prior to the meeting on the 25th, what day do we have to have that submitted back by?
Oh, well,
Sooner the better, I can see
yeah,
that.
the
But
sooner the better for the board's review. Wednesday, the 20th,
Okay?
so that way I can get it to them. They can send it to me electronically, that way I can just send it electronically.
Okay?
It'll be quicker, and then I'll make copies for the board.
Okay, so if we take those photos and download them into a PDF format style thing, that would be acceptable format?
Yes,
if you got
email
addresses
it
that
to
we
me.
can look online too, that'll help too.
Okay.
Yeah, but it sounds like this is pretty new, so I don't think you're gonna be able to go onto Street View and see any new construction.
There is nothing
Unless
else.
there is, I don't know.
The first ever, this way?
No, we've been doing this for a couple years now.
Oh, so
But in
maybe-
this region,
In this region, yes.
that was
In
represented
this-
to
This
us.
market area, yeah. Yeah, this is the first time, in fact, that we've done a ground up in quite a while. So it's a good thing for us. We used to do ground ups all the time, but
And just because I can't remember, and it's on the drawing, and I'll kick myself for not asking, the garbage enclosure that I'm looking at, I thought you guys were going with totes.
Good point.
So-
I did see some.
okay.
Weren't they
So-
doing totes?
Yes, they are definitely doing totes.
Right.
I think I saw a garbage enclosure.
But there is a
Yes,
garbage
on
enclosure,
the-
so can you clarify what that
yes, we
actually
can.
is?
Actually, we can, because sometimes these brand books have one version of
I get
drawings.
it.
So if there were changes during the course of your previous meetings, we can make sure that that's taken care of.
Because originally they were gonna put it in the corner or something, right? And then they
They're gonna
changed
put it against the street, and that, well, they thought they were going to.
Good catch, Alan.
So there is one on the plan right now? Is that-
Yeah.
There,
On
Okay.
this.
yeah, on many of the pages,
Gotcha.
At least on page 10 for sure.
Yeah, it's on the
Okay.
west elevation.
yeah.
I'll add that in my notes.
Thank you. Thanks.
Okay. Anything else?
No, thank you for
Okay.
walking us through it.
Well, thank you very much. Appreciate your time, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.
Are you coming back or is your
Oh, yeah.
son back?
Nope, I'll be back.
When is this going up, do you know?
We actually have the, since all the other meetings happened, we actually have the boards that should have plans mid-May for the site work and the shell of the building. And then my interior plans should be about mid-June. So we're hoping for a fourth or first quarter opening.
So,
We want to be pretty aggressive about it.
I don't remember who the engineer was on this.
Bisbano and Associates,
Bisbano.
they're the architect of record. I don't know who the engineer is offhand, but Bisbano is
Matt,
Matt Silva.
yes. I haven't gotten the final set yet.
No, it's still in development.
Okay.
We're working on it to get all the previous comments from other meetings are being included in that. So
Awesome.
all these notes will go over to them so we can make sure they're all correct.
To get the signed town
Yes.
staff and the planning board chairman to sign
Right.
off on them.
Exactly. Perfect. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you much.
Thank you very much.
Have a good evening, folks.
Pardon me?
Came in from Michigan. Moves to where we built it.
Probably. Pull up a chair. Okay, next item on our agenda is case number PB 2024-03-03, request by Marathon Engineering, acting as agent for Arundecoit TK Owner LLC for preliminary site plan approval for the redevelopment of the existing Regal Movie Theater and traffic improvements on premises 2255 East Ridge Road in a C Business District.
Yes, you gotta listen to me, Bert.
I wrote a bunch of notes on the board.
There was some issues with the, I had some questions about the loading. Hi, Jerry. I'm okay, how are you?
It's been a long time.
I know.
It's always good to come back into the hometown, to see everybody again.
This didn't change at all, did it? Okay.
Just brought it with some smaller plants behind it here, here's them
Oh.
big ones for everybody.
Thank you.
Some stuff on here.
As for the record, my name is Jerry Goldman, I'm the attorney and agent for the Elkhorn Plaza owners, represented here by John Augustin, to your right, Jeff Sager, to his right, Matt Tomlinson is the project engineer. We have other folks as well available to us.
Just
Ari
quickly, Nate.
August is the principal, and we also have Larissa is from Marathon as well. So we have a full complement of people here for this, for what we are coming in as site plan to essentially repurpose the former Regal Theater into retail space. It's a relatively minor change to the plaza, doesn't really impact the footprint, but does require coming to the board for site plan review. We don't need any variances, we aren't talking about anything as way of a change for lot coverage and the like. So with that, what I'll do is just turn it over to Matt, to talk a little bit about.
And whoever talks, just say your name again so we can keep
Yeah,
track. Okay.
Sure. Matt Tomlinson from Marathon. We appeared before this board for concept review at a prior meeting and heard glowing reviews, but I know there's some newer faces around the table, so we'll touch base on a few of the things that we're improving on the site and then open up for questions. So as Jerry mentioned, we're rehabbing or redeveloping the east side of the plaza and the building, and one of the things that we're working to achieve as part of the redevelopment is some traffic circulation improvements. Right now, there's limited islands and landscaping through this portion of the plaza's parking lot, and there's a lot of diagonal traffic that happens when folks enter those driveways. So there's a couple of ancillary benefits that I'll talk about a little bit when we get to stormwater, but the front curved marquee or overhang of the building for the theater is coming down, and we're channelizing and creating a better intersection than the arc that used to go around it. In addition, we're also adding some raised crosswalk areas to help protect pedestrians as they go from the parking fields to the new retail, as well as to the outbuilding in the front out towards East Ridge Road. And I'm sorry, I know you guys all know the plaza, but East Ridge is on the north side, Culver's all the way on the west side of this plaza. So we are slightly reducing the number of parking spaces. We're still well over what is required, but we're adding some pretty substantial landscaped islands. Up, you'll notice there are 6 rectangular with some circles in them. Those are some new trees that we're proposing to plant, and that's for folks entering off of East Ridge at the traffic signal and then taking a right to go to the western portion of the plaza. Again, as I said, right now there's some diagonal traffic patterns that cut through there, so that'll help to formalize and channelize traffic that's both exiting and entering off of East Ridge Road. As we come down, I think it's got the CSL plasma in it. That building is where we're putting the first raised crosswalk, again, to try to slow folks down as they come through and providing some pedestrian connection. And then we are redoing the islands with some additional landscaping right along the face of the theater, which is directly in front of the Burlington portion of that redeveloped building. There's some small demolition that's also happening in the rear of the plaza to make space for trash compactors and for loading docks for the new area. There is a lot of interior demolition work and floor leveling that's required due to the change in grades for the theater floors and the stadium seating that was in there. So John and Jeff are working on trying to get to that point so that we can get started. And then thirdly, in the piece that we didn't really have figured out when we came in for...
Sorry, can you guys please either move yourselves or the microphones forward? It's just a legal thing to hear you downstairs. Thank you.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Make sure it's on.
It is on, I can hear it.
Okay. Yep.
Sorry about that. the piece that we did not have figured out, and I've had some discussion with Kate and the Lavella folks in the last recent few days relative to stormwater. So we are under all the thresholds required for stormwater, but we know and have had documented several instances in large or heavy rainfall events that this plaza kind of all flows down to the southeast corner, and there's some impacts to neighbors in large events. That predates, obviously, this development predates the developer's ownership of the plaza, but it is an issue nonetheless. So we are cognizant of that, and within the scope of what we're doing here for the redevelopment of the existing building, trying to put forth a good effort to achieve as much as we can within the confines of the project and the budget, which of course always weighs into that. So there's three pieces that we've incorporated. Number one, obviously we're adding landscape islands, which is turning pavement into grass and tree area. We're adding a little over 5,000 square feet of those in landscape beds. Secondly, we're proposing an underground storage chamber, which is outlined in a dashed, they're Caltech chambers, and they are underground storage that takes flow as it goes through the main storm system along the north face of the plaza and provides additional storage underground. Typically in a development, if we were building this today, there would be a large pond down in that southeast corner that would attenuate some of those flows. So we're trying to create that. Obviously, digging a hole in the ground is much more cost effective than creating some storage under the parking lot, but we're creating just under 8,000 cubic feet of storage that will help to attenuate those storm flows. And then the third and final thing is there right now in that southeast corner, there's a drainage inlet online with the storm system, and that grate sits flush with the pavement. And right now, that's the main truck route and will continue to be the main truck route for all deliveries, tractor trailers, and vehicles that go through. But that single grate is the low point for the whole plaza. So if leaves, trash, plastic bags, anything constrains the ability for that grate to accept stormwater, it quickly overflows and becomes a major issue to try to get back in there.
I'm sorry, where's that grate?
Right in the southeast corner of the parking lot. That's the one. You got a picture.
Right here.
Just to the left of that screen. Yep, so there's a storm grate.
The one right in the middle here.
That's correct. So what we're proposing is to install an overflow structure closer to the high poured curb, a little bit closer to the edge, down along that storm, and put a conical rebar grate over the top of it that would, anytime leaves or trash would get there, water would rise up to a certain level and then go over those floatables and ensure that it does not stay blocked. That's not going to relieve the condition in a very large storm event that has happened, where 25 or 100-year storm that comes down in a short amount of time overwhelms the storm system. There's still the potential for that overflow, but it will eliminate or help to alleviate those smaller rain events where there's trash or debris that become a maintenance issue. So those are the three pieces that we've added. Again, this redevelopment is well under the thresholds for any type of stormwater management requirements. So, but the developer has heard the concerns of the town, the concerns of the residents that are affected by that, and really trying to go above and beyond to help that situation. So we can definitely talk more in detail, but I know there weren't a lot of questions or comments the first time we talked with the board at the concept level, so I'd like to just open it up to questions at this point.
Any questions from anybody?
I do, one, and I appreciate the trees and the grass and all of that stuff, but we've made a 3-year commitment to somebody else to use that same property.
Towards the street, right?
Yeah.
You're talking about
Yeah.
the fireworks guy.
It's up at the north corner there. Keystone Fireworks.
Yeah.
And they're only there for a week, you know.
No, I understand that. I'm just asking what this change will impact their ability to be there with parking and everything else that we've required from them.
So I think maybe next step, we can provide the applicant with was it a special use permit? Or was it a site plan that you guys gave them.
Site plan. we
With the
did it-
site plan with that.
We did it for 3 years.
Right, so maybe we can provide that to them, and if they indicate that there are no issues, with a large plaza like this, parking usually isn't an issue, but we'll provide that to the applicant, and they can let us know if they think there's any conflicts.
Can we request that it be shown, because it's gonna be a structure for a period of time?
It'll be up there for more than 2 weeks.
For any of those temporary
Yeah.
units, so we could show that on the plan.
And it's usually
Yeah,
forward of that.
I think it would likely make sense if they did some sort of dotted line or something that indicates the general area and a note. Yeah, that's fine.
We can put any sales
Yeah.
on, but
So the
that's-
10
that's
20
an
by
SBA
40
area
are
that
10
major society-
is parallel. Up here.
Yeah.
Okay, here, right?
Alan,
That's why I said it's
he's got it marked on here. He'll show it on,
Yeah, and 25, this area is 200 by 400, so
Yes.
there's plenty of room
plenty of room.
for that to
Is
occur
it
up
20
there.
by 40, 10, you want me to send you this?
You can, but I've got it marked already. Yeah, thank you.
I just want to make sure that we're able to fulfill that commitment, or do we need to look at him again?
The school has a greater commitment. They come through there with some buses and other things that they use it for once in a while.
Use the events
Yeah,
which
but
is
that,
their overflow.
that we have no say on.
Correct.
I have a couple questions. Right now in the back where the loading dock's gonna be, right now it's just the ramps there. And you're making it into more a real loading dock. Is that gonna commit or make a lot of noise now for the neighbors back there with the trash compactor? And now the trucks are gonna be able to pull up there and idle and,
So,
It's a similar condition to what's along the whole plaza. It's
Okay.
not any different. And New York State has some idle laws. You can't run them for more than 5 minutes, that
Okay.
kind of thing. So I don't anticipate that.
and then when I was looking at
Is there
the,
another trash compactor, though? I want to follow up with back there.
That'll be common.
well, Marshall's has one, yeah. So the Marshall's space, and see what's CW Price has one over there.
Don't anticipate.
The Marshalls is just west of
Right.
the page that you can see here within
Right.
the plaza.
Oh,
It has
sorry,
a
yeah, it's
compact
just down the-
back there as well.
Off this
I
side.
bet the manufacturer can just tell you the decibels, if you could just send that, or have that included. That way, it's on there. If a neighbor has a question, they'll have an opportunity to see your information and ask the question.
Jeff, that area is in common between the 2 or 3 tenants are gonna share it, aren't they? The
Yep.
dumps- I doubt they'll have a compactor there. I don't think there'll be room.
Yeah, I
They're
don't
gonna
know.
share that dumpster space for the 4 tenants.
Let me find out. I can see what is on the Burlington prototypes.
Yeah, so that, right now, we're splitting and Jeff, correct me if I'm wrong, we're splitting the theater into 5 tenant spaces, but there'll be a common loading dock, and then there'll be a hall along the
No,
back.
so the dock is just for Burlington.
Oh,
And then
okay.
Five Below only has a drop-off area. They don't really have a dock, so to say, so there's no compactor for Five Below, and Kids Empire doesn't have any of it.
and
So
then,
as it goes along, it's less. It's just the one dock that we're creating for Burlington.
and then when I pulled up this picture, I didn't have a chance to actually drive by. There's, like concrete back here by the light, and it's like falling apart. Is that still like that back there?
Speaking of
No,
the wall,
that's just a
there's
little
about
wall that's in that back
12-inch
corner.
wall that runs around. It's in good shape, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
We can
That
take
just
another
may not
look
be-
at it,
I'd
but
Looked
like
like
to
it was
look at
falling apart there. I didn't know if it was still like that.
Maybe it was the lighting.
It could be.
No.
Bad picture.
It was, I think it's been corrected.
Okay. It was.
I think overall it's a big improvement.
Huge.
Yep.
And these guys are all signed up?
The 3 are
Big
signed up.
ones, And we don't go anywhere. Burlington's the main. Five
Good stores.
Below and Kids Empire are set. As long as we keep those 3 and get this under construction sometime this spring, we'll hold on to Burlington and this project's a go. We'll fill the 2 small tenants. Those are 2,500 feet.
Yeah,
each.
25 to 3,000 feet.
Ancillary kind of the 3 major tenants.
We'll fill those,
So
but
you're gonna start in the spring? Is that the plan?
This is our 3rd time actually here. We'd love to start demo in April. I know that sounds hard. That's been our plan all along. We're trying to get occupancy perhaps just after the 1st of this year. If we get pushed off and can't make that date, Burlington, a whole nother year. They only take it really in these little few months areas. So getting started is important, I think, to trying to get this opened January of '25.
So just backing that out, because it's somewhat critical to the project, we are requesting preliminary final when we come before you guys in a couple weeks, because that'll allow them to start demolition And I noted, I think on the agenda it says preliminary,
I'm
but
gonna ask why you're only doing preliminary. There's no zoning, nothing else you need.
no, no,
variances.
correct. Yep,
So we're just here.
yep. And I think there was, the question mark really was the stormwater, and I think we've had some discussions, been able to address that. So we are hoping to,
You got any comments on the stormwater, what they're doing?
No, the applicant has been working with Labella, and we're confident that we can move forward, but we'll provide comments, but we don't think it's gonna be an issue.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it just looks like it's a bonus.
Yep.
The
It's
only
better
thing
than a big
I'm
empty space right now.
curious about, are the
We have to
colors sort
tear
of
it down.
consistent
We don't
with the
get
rest of the
that done. It's
plaza?
gotta be done.
It's gonna, the whole thing's coming in.
No, if these deals fall apart and we lose a couple of these majors, we have really no choice but to tear it down and look for the future.
I would imagine those movie theaters with all the uneven floors and the walls.
We've been working for a year and a half on this.
Okay.
Yeah, we've
Job
been-
to demo the inside. The cost is probably equal to tearing the building down.
The demo. The demo is, it's mainly because it's also structure. So every one of those theaters is structural on the inside, filled with sand. Every step that you take is poured concrete with a beam that goes across to the two walls that are structural. So the structural demolition that's going to occur is going to take a while. So we're 6 months or so of demo as we kind of move along. Thankfully, we were very lucky to land Five Below in the middle because their space actually takes two of the major walls and keeps them in place. And so that was very, very fortunate. Our biggest holdup will be the RG&E and getting the gear for splitting the service that's there. Maybe our biggest holdup, but as far as the construction and the timeline.
Okay, so back to my question. Is the facade colors that you've put out there consistent with the rest of the plaza?
So they are. We have a lot of ephes on this plaza. There's almost no brick at this center. It's almost predominantly ephes, and so the only change is that the Burlington panels that they're using. It's a Burlington prototype that's on the front there. Those panels are the Nichia, which are similar to what Rochester General is using that you've seen just down the way, and they're metal. They're metal panels that kind of come together. So it's a similar look that's already on the Strip and in the town. And then Five Belows is actually extremely consistent with Marshalls and Party City and Petco. And so the only ones that we're trying to actually make a little bit different, and we don't have a tenant yet for them, so we're not 100% sure, are the small 2 units. But colors are very similar, and that kind of
Because
same
the rest of the
feel.
plaza is sort of beige.
Yeah, it's just sort of beige, and there's not much in blue, yeah, and tan, but
From
not
the
a lot of
signage,
brick and
right.
not a lot, right.
Right, from the
sign.
signage.
Yes.
So the Burlington is going to be adding this whole new,
Red,
to
yeah,
pop.
metal to pop.
all right, and Five Below will be the beige with the...
Yeah, the beige, very similar to Marshalls and Petco.
And then what am I looking at under the Five Below sign?
It's just an awning that goes straight across there in the glass.
All right, is it lit?
It is downlit, yep.
I bet you can anticipate my next question. then.
Is it going to reflect, huh? Is it going to reflect? I'll have to, that's
You
a
want the
good
color
question.
as well, I assume.
Pardon?
No, it's black.
Temperature on that too, or not?
If it's exposed bulb, sure, I will want.
Sure, yeah.
But what I am interested in is.
I'll have to look at the well now. Is the well now
it
is your
reflects right
bad?
off of it, yeah.
Right, okay.
I mean, that was just
this
nothing.
will be lighting underneath the canopy,
Yeah,
similar to, so it won't be above.
Yeah, will not be above.
Those are stringers for the
Yeah,
canopy.
what
I
you
think.
see there is what.
Yeah, because
Oh,
what
those
I'm
are just,
looking at.
yeah, those are just angles, supports for the
Just the
canopy.
supports.
Okay,
Yep. on
yeah,
top.
that's fine then, all right.
And there may be some modifications to the facades of those tenants that have not been identified
Correct.
yet because they may have their own guidelines.
Yes.
So shall we have to call that out in the decision somewhere or something, to offer them some flexibility in that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that sometimes you have the applicant come back for signage approval, so it may be, for tenant X and tenant Y, please come back for sign approval or something along those lines. And since we're on that subject, to the applicant, are you expecting with the site plan also to have all the signage approved as well?
Not next month, likely. we'll come back for our signage.
Okay, great. I just wanted to manage expectations here, so you'll come back for signage at a later point.
I could give the signage, I've approved it for Burlington already, so we could present what we've approved.
I just want to
If it's
manage.
going to complicate and slow us down, we do not want
Happy to
to
come back after.
do
You'd
that.
have to
Okay.
come back
That's
after.
acceptable to the board.
Okay, so up to the board, but I just wanted to,
No, that,
if
I'm
you
agreeable
were
with that.
expecting that, I just want to make sure that they are aware, but if not,
Whatever makes it easier.
Can I just ask, what is Empire Kids?
Kids Empire.
So it's
Jungle gym.
it's a jungle gym, yeah. It's not like a Sky Zone. It's more, they've got the whole back, they need 28 feet, so they're actually leaving the ceilings at 29, 30 feet. And they build this two-story jungle gym that the kids crawl around in that's I think it's 3,500 to 4,000 feet of the space is just that. And then they have some pizza and some birthday area and some things like that. But it's a
Your next birthday
really
party,
big
Alan.
playground. So you're-
Sky Zone's the bigger player in that industry.
Yeah, but this is not, so this is
You're offering
no
it.
trampolines. So there's no trampolines in it though.
Yeah.
It's just
I just
climbing
didn't know what it
around.
was.
Sounds like it's
Same-
kind of geared towards younger kids too.
Yes, it is.
Sky
yes.
Zone.
Yeah, not so much, yeah. The trampoline parks can bring in older kids.
Totally unrelated question. I noticed somebody's helping you with the signage there on the side of the building. I don't know if you've seen it.
Yes. Yes.
Is there some way they're getting up there?
Oh, sorry, microphone,
Oh,
please.
I didn't know if I wanted this on the mic. So,
The meeting is not adjourned yet.
oh, okay. So is there some way they're getting up there to do that or?
We actually caught a few kids in the building about 2 weeks ago, and they were apprehended and charged. Probably the same group that's been breaking there regularly. We've had
So
all the copper taken off the building.
We've
What else,
had
Jeff?
all the rooftops removed. They got up there with the, now that had a staircase that went up to the mezzanine for the cameras. So that whole entire staircase, I don't know if it's really on the plans, but that staircase gets removed. And we're actually bringing that, there's a 2,000 square foot interior mechanical room. So we're bringing access to the roof inside the building. So it'll be no longer be able to get up that high. Now, they have gotten somehow to the above ESL and above the bridal store, somehow they have tagged that one side of the building. I do not know how they have gotten up there. That is a very hard spot to get up there.
Getting it
It
occupied
is,
is really important.
it is.
It's known now as a vacant building for going on
Yes.
since COVID.
Yeah, we've had some problems there.
It's
We have
one
cameras
thing
there
against
and
the other is-
other things there now to monitor the
The other
building.
tag it better than the other.
I just
Yes,
figured
we
they were
will.
getting up there easily somehow, but.
I know, yeah. The one spot is very difficult. Hard for me
Yeah,
to
they're
get.
probably, well, yeah, it's crazy.
Anything else? Thank you for
No,
your time.
thank you. Looking forward. This is fantastic.
I think we've done a pretty, this plaza's come back from, we've only owned it 10 years, and it was pretty dire about 5 years ago before we got Marshall's. We were looking at a potential market that might go in there, which would fill it up, it would turn back into a nice center. So we're happy for the town and for ourselves, of course.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Any other actions, any minutes we got to get prepared for? Guess we'll adjourn. We don't need a vote because it's a workshop, right? We're done. Thank you.